Chapter 113. The Altered Plan. Exodus chapter 33, verses 1 to 11. And the Lord said unto Moses, Depart and go up hence, thou and the people which thou hast brought up out of the land of Egypt, unto the land which I swear unto Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, Unto thy seed will I give it. And I will send an angel before thee, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in the midst of thee, for thou art a stiff-necked people, lest I consume thee in the way. And when the people heard these evil tidings, they mourned, and no man did put on him his ornaments. For the Lord had said unto Moses, Say unto the children of Israel, Ye are a stiff-necked people. I will come up into the midst of thee in a moment, and consume thee. Therefore now put off thy ornaments from thee, that I may know what to do unto thee. And the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by the Mount Horeb. And Moses took the tabernacle and pitched it without the camp, afar off from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of the congregation. And it came to pass that every one which sought the Lord went out unto the tabernacle of the congregation, which was without the camp. And it came to pass, when Moses went unto the tabernacle, that all the people rose up and stood every man at his tent door, and looked after Moses, until he was gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass, when Moses entered into the tabernacle, the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the Lord talked with Moses. And all the people saw the cloudy pillar stand at the tabernacle door, and all the people rose up and worshipped every man at his tent's door. And the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. Exodus chapter 33, verses 1 to 11. An important series of books could be written on the influence of various texts on our civilization. This text would certainly deserve an important place in such a study. We will come back to this later. We have in these verses God's humiliation of Israel. They had broken his covenant, and very flagrantly so. God would now renew that covenant by his grace and mercy, but without the same favour to Israel. The people were ordered by God to go into mourning for their sin, which they did. Verse 4. They stripped themselves of all ornamentation. Verse 5 makes it clear that this was at God's command. The custom was to wear no ornaments when mourning, to indicate that some loss, because of their sorrow, had in effect left their lives poorer. The tabernacle was apparently still under construction. The temporary tabernacle was now removed from the centre of the camp at God's orders to an area outside the camp. It meant that, thereafter, anyone going to worship at the sanctuary had to leave the encampment. It meant a symbolic separation from Israel unto the Lord. Thus, the renewal of the covenant meant a changed relationship. Israel was still God's people, but the relationship was now stronger on the personal level. In fact, this temporary sanctuary is identical more with Moses than with Israel. Verse 7. And Moses took the tabernacle, is more literally, Moses took his tent and pitched it without the camp. What Moses did was once called the original secession. Moses, on God's behalf, secedes from Israel. The generation of older Israelites who left Egypt are in effect excommunicated, verses 1 to 3, They will die in the wilderness, and only Caleb and Joshua will enter the promised land. According to verse 11, Joshua remained in the sanctuary. It became his dwelling place, and he was its guard against profanation. Although Aaron and his sons were alive, not they, but a non-priest, a man of war, was God's guardian for the sanctuary. God's partial separation of himself from Israel was both a judgment on them for their sin and an act of mercy. Had he remained in their midst, he would have destroyed them, according to verse 3. The angel of the presence would still go before them on their march, but God was no longer at the center of Israel. In due time, Israel was replaced by a new chosen people, Christ's congregation. God underscores his disassociation from Israel by openly declaring his closeness to Moses. The cloudy pillar of God's presence came to the sanctuary door as Moses entered. The favor given to Israel was now given to Moses, and God spoke to him and instructed Moses as his covenant man, as himself the Israel God was still defending. All the people were witnesses to their changed status. To return now to the impact of this text on Christendom, we must first call attention to the changed location of the sanctuary. From the center of the camp, it was moved outside of it. This is referred to in Hebrews chapter 13, verses 10 to 14. We have an altar, whereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. For the bodies of those beasts, whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin, are burned without the camp. Wherefore Jesus also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Let us go forth therefore unto him without the camp, bearing his reproach. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. The no continuing city is Jerusalem and Jewish worship. Paul and the apostolic company urge a separation by their Jewish brethren from that community to the new city, the city of God, which is to come through Christianization. To say that continuing city refers exclusively to heaven is to warp its meaning. The crucifixion was outside the camp, outside of Jerusalem and the temple. It was not only a crucifixion, but also an excommunication of Jesus. What our Lord was cast out of, Paul says, we must separate ourselves from, bearing his reproach. Those which serve the tabernacle cannot legitimately partake of the Lord's table. Similarly, the Christian cannot remain within the camp which excommunicates Christ. To return to the location of the sanctuary, what God did here was retained in later history. The Temple of Solomon was built on the edge of Jerusalem, outside the camp. This was true also of the rebuilt Temple of Ezra, Nehemiah, and of Herod's temple, which stood in our Lord's day. The original centrality of the sanctuary was set aside by God's instructions to David and Solomon concerning the temple's location. The Christian countries have been very much abused for seeing themselves as facets of God's new Israel. While at times very false opinions, such as British Israelism, which holds to a blood inheritance, have developed, the usual premise has been to understand the life of a nation as the medium with which to manifest God's kingdom as he requires it. The impact on architecture and city planning was very great. The church was located at the very centre of the city or town, and it was made the finest building thereof. Very commonly, community meetings were held there, plans made to repair roads and bridges, and so on and on. The church was both the centre of worship and of government. This plan was developed also in colonial America. Town meetings were held at the church, which was located in the town square. All this was done in terms of the original plan of Israel's encampments and the location of the sanctuary. The Christian community, as the true Israel of God, looked to the Bible for guidance here as in all other things. New England called itself God's New Israel or Zion because it sought to make central in all things the triune God and His Word. The medieval church had done this, and so too did Protestantism. In time, alien faiths worked against this, and a number of false centres supplanted the church. Among these were banks, and, in direct contrast to the church, banks for generations, and until World War II, were built in the style of Grecian temples. These still exist in many cities. Political buildings, city halls, courthouse buildings, and bureaucratic centres also vied for centrality. So too did newspapers in some cities. They built on a public square or created one to mark their eminence. Colleges were no longer built around a chapel. All these variations in the designs of cities have an apt description in a line from William Butler Yeats' poem, The Second Coming. Things fall apart, the centre cannot hold. The modern city has no true centre because it has no true faith. It is polytheistic, and it is therefore losing all sense of law. This is very apparent today in current views of capital punishment, abortion, homosexuality, and similar issues. Many gods means many laws, and continual warfare and oppression because of those conflicting laws. As a result, things fall apart. But this is not all. There is a design in the development of cities which, while it has ancient roots in continental Europe and England, came into its own on the American frontier, and especially the West. Instead of a town square with the church at the central location, towns came to be built on either side of the road, so that a small village or town might stretch out for some distance with only a handful of buildings. In some instances, a bar or two and the town pool hall would be at the congregating centre, but basically such towns had no centre and no focus. They were economic points for people passing through. At best, such places, even when growing into cities, aroused superficial loyalties. Meanwhile, the major urban centres became places of refuge for people seeking escape from family controls, so that the appeal of the city was its provision of anonymity for sinning. Beginning in the 1920s, a number of American writers gained prominence because of their contempt for small-town and church-oriented living. The present degradation and lawlessness of urban life, thus, has not been an accident. It is a product of a desire to expel the church and Christianity from centrality in the life of a people. Some churches still maintain an existence at the heart of a city. In some instances, lawlessness is making their continued existence difficult. Then, too, many city planners are trying to force out these churches on the grounds that the property is too valuable for religious use and should become commercial property. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, First Presbyterian Church, located at the city centre, used to have a major daily ministry under Clarence Edward Macartney. Noon lunches and study sessions attracted hundreds. A stone pulpit facing the street stands at the front. Once a week, before World War I, the street was closed to automobiles at noon, and Dr. Macartney preached a brief sermon there, relating the faith to life, sometimes to 1,000 or more men. Many like evidences of the centrality of the faith once existed. The city today is hostile to them,